Hey, I'm going to give you an introduction to the Learning Lab teaching format. It's a very innovative format that's probably unlike anything you've experienced. At the core, you have a more advanced student giving a more beginning student a specific mini lesson. It's a mini lesson that they've learned before from another student that came before them. And the learner, once they've learned the lesson, they get to pass it on to the next person. It's kind of cascading. The instructor teaches the first student and works with the first student until the first student really gets it, it clicks, and then that student can take that essence of learning, pass it on to the next student. So why does it work? Doesn't it take an expert teacher to teach? And if you look at it a lot of times when you tell a peer, teach me world history or something, they kind of draw a blank, they're unsure, maybe they draw on some random pieces that come to their mind. It's just something that they're not really good at teaching in general. However, in the Learning Lab teaching format, the instructor creates a curriculum. The instructor creates mini lessons that kind of lay out how to teach the subject. So all that intelligence about like how to teach it is in the curriculum. Each mini lesson is centered around a concrete task, ability, or exercise. And the instructor thought about like what's a good way to go about this. And those are like bullet points for how to teach it. When you have students and you give them something concrete to show to another student, they're usually very happy to recognize, oh, that's it. They feel confident because they've learned it before, and then they just kind of show it. And sometimes they even do a better job than a teacher would because they speak the language of the other student. They're more accessible. There's less that authority barrier to an instructor. Students can feel more comfortable asking questions, asking follow-up questions. Let's look at an example of how this looks like in a class. A lot of you probably have taken a dancing class at some point, been dragged into it by a partner. Imagine you walk into a salsa class. So the instructor might have a good idea of like what's a good sequence to learn things. Like first you learn the basic, then you learn a right turn, then you learn a cross-body lead. So that's a curriculum. And so the instructor would take an existing student and tell that student like, hey, teach this newcomer the basic step. The basic step is intellectually not very complicated, but it does take practice to do it. Like, it really helps if there's someone else showing it to you over and over, doing it with you, telling you like, no, it's a left foot. And at the same time as a teacher to like frees you up instead of a million times telling like a million new people like, no, it's a left foot over and over. You get to focus on more higher level teaching aspects. And then once that person learned the basics, they can teach it to the next person. And probably because they're still a little bit new and shaky and they're going to be engaged because it helps them deepen their own learning. That's Learning Lab teaching format.